Waziri, the national government, through the executive, did say that there's 80 billion Kenya shillings that was supposed to be donated to the county government of Nairobi. When we look at the current budget, Waziri, this 80 billion has not been budgeted for. Where is this money going to come from? Or it was just a mere statement of puff or misrepresentation of facts? Lastly, Waziri, I would like to inform Mheshimiwa Robi that the fuel price in Uganda per liter is $1.45 US, which is approximately 187. Yeah, I would like to inform Mheshimiwa Robi that the fuel price in Uganda is approximately $1.45 US, which is approximately 187 Kenya shillings. So petrol. So Mheshimiwa Robi, stop thinking in installments. Lastly, Mheshimiwa Wario did.
Honorable Babu, Owino, I didn't give you a chance to respond to your colleagues.
I just said, Mheshimiwa.
Just ask your questions and then the Treasury will respond.
Yeah, you are giving the incoming governor a lot of
the committee matters should not be allowed.
I said you help me understand, not lecture. Or help you understand. That I'll do that. I'll help you understand. I know you are not a standard one dropout, but I'll do that. Now, you see, prices is a function of demand and supply. Basic economics. And by the way, let me first correct Honorable Babu. I've seen you together with your self-imposed party leader trying to scandalize, so to speak, the capacity and competence of an accountant in running National Treasury and saying that accountant should be a finance expert. For your information and his information, there is no finance expert who is not an accountant. Actually, for you to be a finance expert, you have to be an accountant. Before the 844, there was no finance option in the Faculty of Commerce. It used to be accounting. So you qualify as an accountant. And in accounting, you do all forms of finance, including public finance, corporate finance, and all the finances. So finance is actually a subset of accounting. It's within accounting. And by the way, in accounting, we not only do that, but we do law. We do basic law, we do commercial law, we do corporate law, we do everything about law. And we go a step further to do ICT. Actually, if there is any profession, if once you qualify, you can be anything, is an accountant. So I just wanted to allay your fears. One time I see you nursing some ambitions of being president, maybe 2052 or 2057. You can confidently.
Honorable Owino.
Honorable Babu, you can confidently. Let me just finish. You can confidently hire an accountant as your finance minister. But let me come to now your questions. You see, I started by saying basic economic concepts. In fact, I would call it macro MM1, macroeconomic, foundations of macroeconomics. You learn that price is a function of demand and supply. Now, even if you are sourcing your fuel from India, leave alone the Middle East, India, whatever happens in the Middle East affects the supply globally. You know, the Strait of Hormuz is not in dispute, transits 20% minimum of global fuel. Now, the 80% is a lower supply compared to 100%. So up to that, I think we are together. Now, the demand remains constant. Supply has shrunk to 80%. Now, all these people who are getting their supply through the Strait of Hormuz are going to scramble for the fuel coming from other regions and other areas. So you really don't have to have your fuel passing through Strait of Hormuz. Actually, we have not said as a country that we cannot get our fuel because Strait of Hormuz has been blocked, because we know our fuel is passing through elsewhere. But the price now comes up because the demand remains constant. Supply has risen. In the document.
Honorable Owino, please. If Honorable Owino, we don't work in Parliament like that. When somebody is Honorable Owino, you don't have the floor. You will be given the floor later.
I thought I was to explain to him like a third one. Now he's behaving like a professor. So, point of information. Let me come back.
You can't inform him. Let him do his part, then you will get a chance to respond.
No, he's my friend. You know, Babu is my friend and my student in politics. So I was just explaining that you really don't have to have your fuel passing through Strait of Hormuz. What we are saying, Strait of Hormuz blocking has disrupted global supply of fuel anywhere, including the US. Okay? So that is the basic principle. And now that has led to global increase in prices, landing costs. Yeah? What comes here, they call it Platts cost. It comes here at a different price than what was there in February. So that explains why the prices have to go up. Now, price of fuel in Uganda, it should also be understood that I've done this comparison. I wish I carried my information. In April, the prices of fuel in Uganda was higher than Kenya. Now, and Mheshimiwa has come from there. The gap, the difference is not that much, even though Uganda, again, don't fix the prices. The price is allowed to fluctuate. But you see, let me tell you, the Ugandans, as an economy, their stock lags behind ours. So sometimes you may see that the price is still low, but in a month or two, it will jump and even be beyond Kenya. And I'm sure that is what Mheshimiwa has started to see. And I said it, in the month of May and going to June, you will see prices in Uganda higher than Kenya. There is no doubt about it. Kenyan economy is a bigger economy, we consume more, and as we have a storage of about 15 days, they have a storage of more, a longer period. So that is one reason. But I would also tell you, as a matter of fact, that their supply for fuel is not guaranteed because they have not gotten into this G2G arrangement. Many countries are now coming to Kenya to learn this G2G, which some of us are trying to fight. Now you have asked me a very good question, Honorable Babu. Why is it that development budget is consuming all, actually it is 751 billion. Last year it was 760. Why is it that we are consuming just a small portion of the budget in development expenditure and the budget is going up? Where has it gone to? One of the areas it has gone to is CFS. CFS is now taking 1.5 trillion, 1.5 trillion, up from 1.36 trillion last year. Why? Because a lot of debts, you asked, who has put us here? Who has put us here is actually one of your friends who has led this country. Because the debts that were taken, the expensive debts that were taken, particularly around 2015, 2016, 2017, is what has put us here. We have to pay that interest. We have no choice. We have no choice because debt is a fast charge. So when I see some people say that someone left a functioning economy, far from it. Actually, I will tell you, IMF, and it is on record, predicted that Kenya was going to default in paying our debts. In 2021, they predicted that. Remember, you and I were in a meeting in Masai Lodge. What were we told? That this government would not survive for 3 months. Because he told us, and this is not a lie, that I know where I've left this country. Didn't he say that? So what was he telling us in short? That he had ruined the economy of this country. That he had messed the economy of this country. And in fact, that day, I got very angry, not because of what he told, but I was wondering, he wanted to leave the leadership to Raila Odinga, where I was going to be the Minister for Finance. I didn't know that I would again become the Minister for Finance in Ruto's government. So I was cursing and saying, so what did he want? Which economy was he leaving for me to run with Raila Odinga? Anyway, that's a matter for another day. But I am just telling people who are probably not in that meeting, and majority of us, apart from the chair, myself, Honorable Waziri, repeat that. Washako was there. Honorable Chien was there. Repeat for the media, here. Ruto Odinga and Aseka.
Members, you have to talk through the chairman. The tendency to just log in the microphone and talk without passing through me is illegal. It's not allowed.
Yeah.
If you want to talk,
no, but chairman,
come through me. Yes.
Chairman, sorry.
Let's allow the minister to continue. And
the reason why, chairman, I've gone this route, and it should be understood that I'm actually, it's not really a joke. I have gone this route because this issue of fuel and the issue of economy has ceased to be a discussion which is professional. It is political. And I have also to lay bare the politics because I understand it. I have been there. I was there in Masai Lodge when we were told that don't worry, this government will not survive for 3 months. I knew that was a lie because there is no government that will never. So was the government, how could Kenya fail? It was not going to fail. We were going to have problems, but it was not going to fail. So I wanted just to remind Babu that remember our friend, my friend and your friend, told us that he messed the economy, in short. And so we are trying to correct it. We are trying to work around it. That is why we have removed the risk of default. The risk of this country defaulting. We have removed that to 2031. 2031. We have liability money 2027, 2028, and even 2032. It's only 2031 where you can still say we have some elements of risk. That is proper thinking. Now, in terms of what time do I work? You know, you must understand the role of a cabinet secretary. Is policy. Cabinet secretary, policy. I have 3 principal secretaries. The government is not mad and the people of Kenya to give me 3 principal secretaries to lead the technical departments. I have director generals, about 6 of them, very competent, qualified in their professions, helping me to work. Mine is to understand what they have already synthesized and bring to me, and we sit and think strategically. And I am a very fast learner, by the way. You bring the information very fast, I understand it. I don't need to sit the whole 7 days understanding what comes from my technical people. But my role is also to communicate. I have to, you cannot make policy without communicating and interacting. How do you design policy for people you don't meet? I have to meet people everywhere, anywhere, in the villages, and I must demystify treasury. It cannot just be about sitting on the 14th floor of the Treasury building. I went to Ali Wario's constituency, and that is when I realized that 100 million can make a big difference. It can save lives. I did not know that if I was just sitting at the National Treasury building. I went to the ground and people talked to me directly, Wazes and Wamama, crying how they have been losing their children as they cross to school. And that is why I proposed that we allocate resources, and I am sure we have even allocated more to complete those 2 bridges for Ali Wario in this budget. That is the kind of leadership that is required. My PS sits in the office with this technical team, occasionally comes out, but sits most of the time in the office. I sit half-half in the office, and as required, I sit in the office, do the work, go out, communicate, interact, explain. That is my work. And I told them when I got into this position that one thing I'm bringing into Treasury is not any new thinking, is how to communicate fast what you do, and that is what I'm doing. So I hope Honorable Babu Owino. But I know, Honorable Babu Owino, it is out of fear that
he has asked whether you are attending Kisumu rally on 31st.
Yeah, that one I will attend. Now,